biggest bunch of misfits I ever set eyes on.
Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast. On today's episode, we welcome a special guest, recurring guest, 7-time CrossFit Games athlete, Misfit Athletics remote coach, more recently, Misfit Athletics programmer as well. Some of the torture that you put yourself through if you follow our programming is done by Paige Semenza. Paige, welcome to the show.
You're talking about me.
Hi, guys. Yeah, that
Seven-time CrossFit Games attendee.
One-time Ben Smith.
One-time beat Ben Smith in handstand walking.
Yeah, pretty much any echo bike piece that you guys have done in a Metcon or interval last phase was me.
Yeah, that was an accident.
Drew picked me for all the echo bike pieces. I'm like, my brain is going crazy on these.
Well, she doesn't like the echo bike, so I figured it's like osmosis. She's putting the book under her pillow.
It's true.
And she will just automatically get better at the echo bike. You've been doing, we'll get to it, but you've been doing just a dash of echo bike. Just a dash.
Little bit.
As usual, a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of live chat, and then we will get into the interview portion. On the housekeeping end, biggest thing is probably this is week 1 of phase 0, and we have the free trials turned on. A lot of people have been asking for a free trial or a sample. I will always send you a sample of any of our programs if you reach out. But we've had it turned off for a while, and it's going to turn off here in a few days. So if you want to try any of our programs on Strivey or Fitter, you have a couple days left to get into the 7-day free trial to test that out. Just posting all of the workouts on social media and posting them, sort of daily in the stories, has like interaction way up, which is fun. We're coming off of like people PRing their Texas Method back squat and their strict press and their bench press of off-season block 2, really sort of dedicated strength portion there. But then we're coming in to, obviously there's 1-rep max lifts, which are less pertinent in a lot of ways to the sport as the conditioning tests. And we're getting a lot of PRs on the conditioning tests as well in phase 0, which is really cool to see. Shout out to, you know what? I actually have a very specific shout out that I want to do. Paige, you know someone named Ryan Daniels?
Yeah, I love Ryan.
This is a great message. This is, wait, where did it go? Oh no, maybe he sent it to my personal account. Stand by. You guys want to talk about something while I find this?
We could talk about Ryan Daniels.
Page?
Yeah, tell me about Ryan Daniels.
I love Ryan. He's so crazy. We always have a good story with Ryan, and like
he's a character,
usually,
right? I think I had a couple of drinks and played cards with him.
Yeah. Him and Josh, another member at our gym. So Ryan is a member of our gym here, and he follows Misfit, so he goes in the annex in our open gym area quite a bit. There's always a story with him, and usually it has to do with like doing something super inappropriate or saying something inappropriate, but it gives us all
the Misfit crew, right?
He does. He's so great. So it's like him and Wyatt are in the back and like in open gym quite a bit together. And Leah, his wife, has started doing some of the GPP programming. So that's pretty fun too. A little bit of Misfit family there.
So Hunter, Ryan was the one where he sent in his 1-rep max and his 5-rep max back squat, and we took a look at it. And part of it was talking through.
Very, very strong.
Well, we'll find out when I read this.
Is it like an egregious, like 500-pound 5-rep max or something?
Aren't they like the same?
No. Yeah. We were talking about the disparity between the two.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so message reads, "Hey Drew, just wanted to give a quick thanks. I sent in that video about being able to do multiple reps real close to my 1-rep max back squat last year. You did the video on fixing the back squat, and it helped me realize I was very quad dominant. Your tips and some PT with McKenna got my knee feeling good for the first time in a while. Just finished Texas Method. My previous PR back in 2016 was set back in 2016 when I was 30. Set a lifetime PR by 30 pounds 9 years later." So obviously I can resonate here. I am also, shocker, 39 years old. I think I am. And I sure as fuck am not setting any 30-pound PRs.
That's so awesome.
30, so that's so cool.
What
9 years later, after being stuck at the same weight for all of those years in between, so not being able to essentially increase, just wanted to say thanks for all you do and sharing your knowledge with all of us.
Which video? Do you know which video he's referencing? Is it the one that we did?
You and I did a fix his back squat on the podcast. Like we talked through why is this happening, basically.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That was him. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And I don't like that. If that message was just the like pleasantries, I would have shared it with Hunter and Kyle and Paige and been like, this is really cool. So not the reason I'm bringing it up, while that part of it is nice. The idea of how this ecosystem works and the way that we want it to work with the programming, and then, hey, maybe I don't want a remote coach, I can't afford a remote coach, it's not a sustainable, business model for us, that sort of thing, to have everybody do it. Like, you sending that video in, you having those conversations in Discord, you listening to the podcast and putting that stuff into what you do is how this could go from, yeah, it's a pretty good program, it's well thought out, to like, I can make significant jumps in my progress year over year. So yeah. I bring that up to shout him out for taking the initiative to do so, and then the idea of this whole thing working the way that we want it to. And I think it's tough with, like, back in the day, there were less companies, like you just went to one place for all of your information from us, that sort of thing. And now it's kind of dispersed into different places. And someone who's newer to the program, not knowing that they have access to us in those groups, that we will, do some video review stuff, or, give you advice, or, the community will answer your question for you, that sort of thing. Really try to lean into that, right? Like, we're starting at phase 0, we're heading into phase 1. We get to start this thing all over again. And doing the program wrong will take you a certain distance, and then doing it right and using the extra resources will take you a significantly further distance. So something that when we get an example of it, I think it's really important to share.
Yeah, he was super excited about testing his 1 rep this week, like when he saw that phase 0 was coming. But like you said, like, we're always about like meeting us halfway. Like, we put the programming out there, put the resources out there, but Ryan also is following the programming. He's picking your brain, he's picking my brain, and he's going to PT because he knows he has a little bit of like asymmetry that he needs to work through, and some compensation work that he needs to work through. So I love it.
Yeah, I put the 1 rep max back squat on the heels of Texas Method very intentionally. It was like the first thing that I plugged in. I was like, people are really going to love the idea of like down and up once. I could probably put a lot of weight on here. And that's another thing where like we're getting a lot of PRs rolling in through, which sort of builds on the idea of us waxing poetically about how, like, you might think it's a little bit leaning more towards muscle endurance, but people really getting their legs under them takes quite a bit of reps, and you can improve your 1 rep max. So that's pretty fucking cool. Live chat. Hunter, what do you got for us?
Been playing some good golf recently. Ooh. That's the live chat. Surprise. Yeah, just what appears to be temporarily out of the doldrums of just sad, angry, irate golf. Dropped first under par 9-hole round. I was telling you and Kyle about this.
Yep.
On Sunday, which was pretty cool. Should have been 2 under, but I'll leave it at that. It was 1 under and just one half-assed tap away from a perfectly clean scorecard, which would have been fucking pretty cool.
Did you get on all fours and tell it to go to its home?
Yeah, I just screamed at it. It moved a little bit, but the wind was directly into my face, so it didn't move at all. And then, yes, Bergie and I yesterday went out, shot pretty good. He shot 75, I shot 76. So we're continuing to cruise along. Handicap's trending back downward, which is nice, but I don't know if I'm gonna see 5 by the end of the season. That's pretty aggressive. We're at 7.8 right now.
Now, if you played with other people, would they consider you a sandbagger? Like, what would they consider? How accurate would they say you're? Because this is like a hot topic. I'm more on it, to be honest. If I were to be classified as one or the other, I would be more of the opposite, because like a sandbagger, somebody who would like deliberately only want to post poor scores so Sure.
that they could play in like club events and get more strokes and win more money.
Yeah.
I'm like the opposite. I hate the idea of posting a bad score because my handicap is going to go up. And I learned that grandbagger is the inverse of sandbagger. Okay, I didn't know what that term was.
Hunter's a grandbagger.
Grandbagger, big old handbagger. Last year, I would say somebody might have been like irritated with me because I had enough of the skills that if I just strung together 18 decent holes, I would shoot well under my handicap, and somebody would be fucking irritated about it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing well enough to like come back tomorrow and like you'll find the opposite end. But now I think my like my upper and lower limits are narrowing a little bit. And yeah, no, I'd say it like reflects accurately, but no, I'm the opposite. I would prefer to like not post a poor score, but I've had to, but like then that kind of artificially that like, it's like, I'd say like, oh, I'm a 5 handicap. It's like, yeah, but you only post 15% of the rounds that you play. So I am a little bit selective. I'll
That's got more of a Kill Layman vibe to it.
Yeah. 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 So I'll go out there and like say I'm not shooting. I've also posted a lot more 18-hole rounds this year versus last year was 9.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, and it's like the like the math on how they calculate your handicap is pretty like, I think it's as good as it can be for the system, but like it's so much easier to string like 9 really good holes together than it is to string 18 holes together. I think that like, and it's just harder to go from a 10 to a 5 than it is from a 25 to a 10.
Beginner gains are over.
So the beginner gains are diminishing for sure. Yeah, we're trending up in the golf game. Clubs are no longer on Facebook Marketplace. Putters in the bag. Feeling good about the sticks we got. Only perusing eBay like 3 times a day. So yeah. We're in the pocket here for the rest of the season.
Paige, what you got for us?
Mini golf, back nine.
Have you watched Happy Gilmore 2, Paige?
I haven't watched it yet. I heard it's good though. Did you watch it?
It was great. Drew said it was bad, but Drew's like standard for movies is like, is it like Interstellar or better? No, terrible.
I'm even more of a snob than Interstellar.
Yeah, I know.
I can't even tell you guys
I couldn't
what
think of a
movies I
better
like, so
movie
be
than
like,
that.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm that
I heard good things about it. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, the nostalgia has to be there, I think.
Yeah.
I think even if you were a golf fan, like maybe like a low IQ golf fan, you'd be okay. But like, I think you have to, like, for me, the nostalgia was there. Like, I got some good chuckles. It was fun to watch, but it was fucking terrible.
Do you know any golfers, Paige? Are you familiar with like big name golfers?
Yeah, like if you say their names, I know who they are. Yeah. But I don't, like, my brother watches, but I don't really follow along at all.
Yeah.
I just know that like when it comes to the back nine and mini golf, I'm done. I'm terrible. So bad.
It's cooked. Yeah.
I can't pay attention.
Exactly.
You get me for like 6 holes on a mini golf course, maybe.
I don't know. Life chat. I feel like every time I get a life chat, I'm in the middle of a prep. So I'm in the middle of prepping for World Fitness Project right now.
For like a year straight.
Yeah. It's like an on and off hell week.
Yeah.
I do like it though. Like probably not many people know, but I've basically, since I started CrossFit, I've coached in affiliate. And the last couple of years, I've done it full time. And then this year, I decided to take a step back from coaching. And with the World Fitness Project and with the game season, I wanted to put all my marbles into that. So I finally, I made those changes earlier in the year, and it took some time to adjust, but I finally feel like I'm kind of embracing the season that I'm in right now, like embracing an athlete life a bit more. And I know it's not going to last forever, so I'm kind of soaking it all in. But right now it's just I'm training. I have my remote clients that I work with. I do some of the programming for Misfit. And outside of that, I'm just trying to spend some time with McKenna and Wyatt, some other friends on weekends when there's free time. My birthday was last week, so over the weekend I invited people from our gym to go to a brewery and spend some time by the pool, things like that, just to balance some of the stress. Like when I was coaching also, I was like on my feet a lot. And then when it gets hot out, I'm on my feet and sweating a lot. So I feel like I have good balance right now.
That's cool. It's interesting to have the this is what you wanted, but then you still do have to get used to it.
Yeah,
right?
it was an
different lifestyle.
Yeah, big adjustment.
Yeah, not to I feel like that's a good segue into a question. Like, what is the difference? What are big differences between because I got to imagine a lot of athletes, most athletes probably are in your shoes where it's like I need to I am working a full-time job wherever that is, and am training when I have time, versus you've made the switch to training is actually number one priority, and how has that lifestyle switch been for you, and what are main differences between what you're doing before and now?
I still am very much a people person. I do like to put like people first. I love to help in the affiliate, and I love to help just people get better in general. But like I also still love competing, and I still really enjoy that. And it's still a work that I really, really love to do. And I have the means to do it full time right now. So I just get to be on my feet a lot less. I think of being an affiliate, like it doesn't feel like customer service, but like I always want to make sure people are having a good hour of their day. And that's a lot of my energy used on other people. So I don't have to do that as much and give as much of myself to other people, which, sounds selfish, but like where I'm at right now, that's like a good thing to put it on myself. But just really being on my feet a lot less helps. Like I can go have a training session and sweat everything out of me, and then I can come home and actually like chill in the AC for a little bit before I want to go back and do another session. And that's like, otherwise I'm coaching 2 to 4 classes a day or 2 to 3 classes a day or in doing one-on-ones, and it's like I'm on my feet for additional hours, and that in the heat gets like really, really tough. And then sleep is bad. I've talked to Drew quite a bit, like even in the heat now, like my digestive system is a little off, and like just trying to like figure out the balance for eating enough and all that, which all that stuff matters, So, but I was also going through my injury with my shoulder for a while, and that played a big part in my headspace. And again, like right now, I just feel like I have a really good balance. I'm pain-free, which is night and day different in my headspace.
And you had a day where we talked about this. This was early in prep, so even lower volume, where you said you didn't get out of the heat, and you were just like, I am not well.
Yeah,
we gotta like air conditioning.
Yeah,
air conditioning intervals when you're training like that are so fucking important.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like I can go harder in training right now. And even with having slightly lower volume prepping for a World Fitness Project, like I can give good intensity and good energy to what I'm doing. And I still coach 2 classes a week. So I still want to help people like that. Like, I don't want to just like put myself in a cave and like hide away. Like I still want, people to come out and talk to me and go talk to them and things like that.
I'm going to hijack, the last portion of live chat here real quick to ask the listeners a question. I had the idea, I wanted to stream the games on Friday, like live, and tell people like, how do we think about these events and like that sort of thing. Turns out I'm not allowed to do that. That is like copyright infringement or something. But I can do a like Rogan does Fight Companion, I can do a Games Companion. So you and I are watching the same thing at the same time, but I'm fucking sitting in my office. You can't see the game stuff, but there's the chat, and I can send the link out and invite people to like join me or whatever. Friday, there are 3 events. There's an 8 a.m. with the run, the long run row workout. Event 2 is that wall walk one with the crossovers. I think that's like at like 11-ish, and then they haven't announced number 3, which is close to 3 p.m. My question is, this is slide into the DMs, go in Telegram, whatever. Tell me if you guys want to do that. Like, if you're going to watch the games anyways, you're going to be in your fucking office, and you want to hear me rant while we watch people run along the river for an hour, let me know. Something I just want to try out and see if it's fun, that sort of thing. Because I have gone to the CrossFit Games, coached at the CrossFit Games 12 years in a row, and this is the first year that I won't be there. And I'm like, I gotta watch, right? Like, don't I?
Gotta
fucking watch the games. I can't not watch the CrossFit Games. So I'm gonna try that. So between now and Friday, I need to figure out how to do that. There's a live option in this thing that we use that like links right away, and then that way I could invite people because I do know how to do that. So if you see that Misfit Athletics is live on YouTube between now and Friday, and I'm doing nothing on the screen, that's just me testing out and figuring out how to do it. So if you guys want to do that, you think that would be fun, let me know. I'll also throw this in like a poll or something on Instagram. All right, Paige, I think now is a really good time to tell the story of spring 2025. Spring, early summer.
Yuck.
And I think the beginning of the story is your back injury in 2023. What happened in 2023? And then, spoiler alert, you did better at the games than you ever had before.
My
But
God.
like, what took place in 2023? How did you hurt your back? What was it like training for whatever events you had after that? Like, I think that is the beginning of the origin story to get us all the way.
Yeah, that's accurate. Oh gosh. So this was, I don't know, April 2023. We were prepping for semifinals. McKenna was following Misfit at this time, right?
That was her first year at
Yeah, okay.
semifinals.
Was she wasn't working with you yet, or she was?
No, she was the first ever hatchet athlete
Yeah.
to qualify for semifinals, which then convinced Brandon to do it and Lindsay
Yeah.
to do it. So kind of she started that trend.
So
which is
for people
awesome.
that don't know, McKenna and I are training partners here at home. So she started following Misfit, was following Mayhem before that, switched over. We're like, hey, this would probably be a good idea. So we were prepping for that. I did some high volume wall ball ski workout. And then I was following up with some strength work, doing some deficit deadlifts. And I went to pull a deadlift off the ground. I felt a pop in my back. And it's something that I felt before. So I wasn't like too concerned because, well, I was like up and down because there were times where something like that has taken a week to recover. And then there's times where it's taken 6 months to recover. So when a week went by and it wasn't better, I was like, oh no. So I was a little bit in trouble there. But that was like, I think 5 weeks before semifinals. And I was working with Gabe at the time. So we talked a lot. I cried a lot. But we would just do anything that was pain-free. And then it was literally give as much intensity to those things as I possibly could. So I even lowered the volume of training, but I really, really bought into what I was doing. So if it was, a burpee workout, I was making myself hurt very badly in those workouts. But I had to limit the amount that I was lifting barbells. I had to take it to a lot of tempo work, a lot of isometric holds, things like that. So that was getting me through semifinals. And adrenaline is a crazy thing. Like your body, I don't know, just kind of adapts and prepares for what's to come. And I was able to compete really well. I barely made it. Like I made it by a point, 3 points that year. Yeah.
Successful, Paige. Come
Yeah. But
No
I was
pictures on the scorecard.
able to get it done. So
Yes, you were.
I gave everyone a heart attack, but I was able to get it done. So then that year, training for the games was very different. A lot of sled work. It went into a lot of like strongman stuff where I wasn't having to pull so heavy. But it was like kind of a blessing in disguise because a lot of the game stuff that year was like sandbag, like the heavy sandbag clean and
Right.
things that like I could just get like that I can do well without hurting myself. So that year went pretty well. And then it was, try to recover a little bit after the games, get a last minute invite to Rogue, which I took just to find out that they were going to announce a heavy deadlift, 1 rep max. But I think it was around that time that my PT, John and Drew kind of collaborated a little bit and figured out that like my squat mechanics were a big issue.
It was Wadapalooza. It was the muscle up squat trio workout.
Yeah.
Watching you move through that and seeing your different variations of squat and being like, holy shit. Like I refer to it as the human paperclip. She's essentially sitting so far back in her squat, more of a vertical shin kind of squat, relying on the, posterior chain a lot more. And that at high rep and high weight is really gnarly on the low back, but it would present itself afterwards. So you would always do like, we went back through like, when does your back hurt? And it's like, when I deadlift, and it's like, what else? And it's like, I did a lot of squat cleans the day before, fronts, that thing that created the paperclip idea that I'm talking about, where you then go to try and brace and your back's like, had enough. Like, please don't do this, that sort of thing. And yeah, that's one thing where when you're trying to figure this stuff out, like where is it actually coming from? It's not because you were deadlifting, right? So like we have to look at it from that point of view. And then I think we figured out some stuff with your shoulder as well that way. But yeah, I was watching you in that workout and I was like, I think I know what's going on here.
Yeah. So all that to say, a lot of squat holds have changed my movement drastically. And it's changed the fact that I don't feel the flare ups. I don't feel like, oh, this might be a bad day to do this movement. Like that kind of stuff doesn't really happen anymore. And recovery is a big part of that too. Like I definitely, each year you find out better ways to recover and need more recovery. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of things have happened, even in like my personal life. So like in December that year, Ben and I broke up. We split up, and I moved out of his house, and that was a very dark time. I moved home for a while, for about a month and a half, and then I ended up finding an apartment from a friend. But it was like all that happened, and I was like, I'm not competing. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm never going to compete again. I was too sad. And then McKenna, I got the invite for Wadapalooza, and I could do team. So I was like, let's get some Misfits. And McKenna and Jenna Michelati at the time, we did a team of 3, and like it gave me purpose to train again and to kind of like get my body moving because I hadn't been doing anything. I just took time off from pretty much everything except for coaching and working. But that happened, and then Wadapalooza was an amazing time, and I decided to buy into training with McKenna like full time, and training with her meant getting up at 6 a.m. and being at the gym because she has to be out by 9. So a lot of that, like my lifestyle changed with that. And I don't know, every year I've bought in more to like the process and the lifestyle, and it hasn't been like a sacrifice. It's been like a joy. It's been really fun. It's been really enjoyable. So trying to go through the healing of a breakup. Like we were together for 3 years, so it was a lot. And I had to lean on a lot of people.
It's hard to heal physically in that state too. Like that's one thing that I think, there's actual scientific research attached to it. But anyone who's been through an injury that is also in like a very stressful season of life, like it's different. It's, like it really exacerbates the issue.
Yeah, it really takes hold physically. And with this sport, it's like you're constantly putting your body under stress. So you're kind of double down
on cortisol.
Yeah, right.
From both ends almost. It's the physical and the mental side. Yeah.
But training with McKenna was like a true healing process in itself. Like her and I just really leaned on each other, and she still is on the come up with competing, and for me it gave me purpose to be like someone for her to look up to and for her to lean on in that, and that gave me purpose, and that made me want to train more as much as it made her want to train more. So like she's getting better, I'm getting better, like all around. Physically, emotionally, mentally, all of that. So fast forward to semifinals in 2024. Personal, Ben and I decided to get back together and try it again. So that was like a very last minute thing right before semifinals, which I was okay with. Everybody else was like, what's happening?
We won't go deep into this, but fucking Hunter just knows Gabe. Being told that at the athlete briefing.
Gabe's not your therapist. Gabe's no one's
Gabe being told that at the athlete briefing was, now that we are on the other side of things in many ways, honestly, all-time memory for me. It was so fucking awkward.
I was fine. I was fine. Gabe was not. Anyway.
I was somewhere in between those two things.
Anyway, I had a fantastic performance at semifinals. I finished 8th in the middle of the pack. But in that, I want to say it was probably the legless rope climb workout where I got done. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Please connect. Are you there?
You're back.
Yeah, we can hear you, Paige.
Okay. So I think it was in the middle of the legless rope climb workout where I got done and I went and got some PT work with John because he came for the whole weekend. And I was like, I just don't feel right in my right side. Like my lat is really messed up, but it didn't affect me through the rest of the weekend. And then afterwards, like trying to recover after semifinals and taking that week off was like, trying to figure out if it's just I need rest or if there's something more. And it turns out there's something more. So I struggled with a rotator cuff issue since semifinals last year. And I went through like 2 cortisone shots to get through the games, to get through Rogue.
What was games prep like? So you came in, another spoiler alert, you came in 9th at the CrossFit Games last year. Also, all I ever talk about in this podcast is how amazing semifinals were. The East semifinal, you came in 8th at the East semifinal. You came in 9th at the CrossFit Games. If anyone wants to know how fucking stacked that field was.
Yeah.
That was like a moment in time that I will definitely remember. So year before, we're sworn off barbells heading into the CrossFit Games. Might be an issue. And then what did you have to leave out of your training leading into the CrossFit Games in 2024?
Most pressing and pulling.
And that
like-
includes gymnastics. That's not just barbells. Yeah.
Yeah. Barbell pulling was fine. I could
Is your
clean.
back at 100% at this point too?
Yeah, back was fine.
Okay, so back's fine. Now shoulder's the issue.
Yeah. So any pulling gymnastics and any pressing of any sort, gymnastics, barbell, dumbbells, like all that stuff became really, really painful. And it wasn't until I got a cortisone shot at some point within games prep that I was like, okay, I can do these movements. But that wasn't until like maybe 3 weeks before the games. So really there wasn't much prep on those movements prior to that.
And for people who, like, people probably know this in their subconscious, but like there is a ridiculous bias on pulling gymnastics at every level of competition that gets programmed by HQ. So like that's obviously a very big deal. But how cool is it you're almost forced into the understanding the idea of GPP, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to believe it, you want to buy into it, but like an athlete that feels like they haven't done everything that they can to prepare, that's a tough place to be in mentally. But you trusted that we were going to be able to kind of figure things out. And, you know, one of the things that happened throughout this whole process, we did a whole segment on it on the podcast a while back, was your progression in running. Like if you want to be good at the CrossFit Games, you have to be a good runner. And fully fast forward, you were a mid to bottom of the pack runner. Now you run 9-minute fucking miles in your zone 2. By far the most jealous thing that I am of you. Like I like curse you when I see your scores on Strivey. I'm like, how is that possible? Like you're not even at the peak.
Damn you, Semenza.
Oh my God. And it's like, well, at least I helped make that happen. But like fucking A, that would never happen. I could get blood doping from a Sherpa that lives on top of Everest, and I wouldn't run a fucking 9:59 mile for more than 1 mile for zone 2. Sorry. That was a little bit of a tangent.
Well,
That's
that's a segue because that was literally what I leaned into when I couldn't use my upper body. It was like, let's run. Yeah. And that was a lot of games prep, a lot of, still the grunt work, all the usual stuff. But as someone who's had troubles with like performing on pulling gymnastics and pressing movements, like to not be able to do those things consistently, like really does take a hit at your confidence when you are at that stage and are ready to compete. It's like, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to do my best. So yeah, we had an MRI. There was a partial tear at one point, like through all that. But since it's been like that went away. But I mean, I could keep going here. Like there's still so much more that's happened.
Yeah, of course. So CrossFit Games 2024, again, just your ability to show your level of GPP. And that also leads me into kind of another piece of it with Rogue. So you hadn't done muscle ups in, I don't know how long, before Rogue. When's the last time you trained muscle ups before Rogue? I mean, like 6 months?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And
I didn't do that before the games.
We talked about the movement itself before she literally, this is in the warm-up area at Rogue. She's getting ready to compete at. Honestly, it's not better than the games, but like they condense the field down to a point where it's like, okay, if you were a straggler at the games, you can't come for the most part. Like that sort of thing.
It's just the final heat of games athletes.
And there's 2 parts to this that I think are really cool, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Hunter, on if you feel this way. But the GPP element, this beautiful thing that affects everything else that's going to happen to you in training. Then this idea of either being a coach and coaching movement or buying into this like borderline obsession that I have with movement efficiency. She did a set of muscle ups to open that I felt like was the best set of muscle ups I'd ever seen her do. And we were like laughing in the back. Same thing happened with snatch. We had like a couple of quick cues and you're just smoking the barbell. And that's one thing that I've found with being really into coaching movement is it translates out on the floor at the gym in a movement that I haven't done in a while. And I don't know if you feel that way, Hunter, but like it really translates for me, and I could tell that it was translating for Paige.
Well, there's like when you were just talking about that, Paige, Andrew, the stimulus thing, like, and just GPP, all I could think about was Caroline during COVID. Right, when it was just like the only thing that she had a couple of machines and like, we gave her made sure she had a couple of like dumbbells and kettlebells and maybe a barbell, maybe even not, but like the amount of time that she spent just training energy systems with the movements that she had access to, as opposed to just like, no, she didn't have rings to do muscle ups on, and she didn't have, you know, don't have a pull up to work on, you know, bar pulling movements and stuff like that. And because she was like, despite the fact that her movement selection was condensed way down and obviously not all encompassing of what you're going to see at a competitive CrossFit event, like the fact that she was able to train the stimulus and maybe even to a greater extent because of how efficient machines can be at like targeting a very specific energy system, where instead of like, you know, you get a triplet of a machine, a high skill gymnastics movement, and then a weightlifting movement, where there's an opportunity for that to fluctuate within the workout a little bit, the effectiveness of like machines and just having a smaller set of movements to like train yourself on, whether it's out of necessity or not, just like, and I don't remember how she placed, but bottom line is that it didn't affect her performance. Like if anything, it made her fitter.
Yeah.
Like from an energy system perspective.
I mean, she's all of 4'11" and 3/4, and she was beating us on C2 bike pieces by the end.
Yeah, like it was insane. And she didn't lose a step at all in the movements that she wasn't able to train. Right. Like you're gonna, like anybody's gonna feel rusty. And I think to your point about movement efficiency, like the biggest thing I can relate that to, because is just like, I think anybody who's played competitive sports, and especially if you're like, you really want to fucking get good at your sport. For me right now, it's like I keep talking about golf, but that's how it is. It's like you train, you want to get so much better at a very specific thing, and you train it and you break down the component parts and you do drills and skills and stuff like that. And like every once in a while it comes together, but sometimes it doesn't. And you're just like, what the fuck is all of this just for naught? You take a step back, you like apply the same thing to homework, right? You study your ass off, you don't seem to get the concept, you take a step back, you step away from it for a couple hours. In the case of, you know, in your case, Paige, it's like maybe a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months. And then like you go back to that movement and it's like that feels and looks better than any other time that I've been training this movement, you know, 2 to 5 days a week consistently. And all of a sudden I don't do it for a month and I feel exceptional about it. I don't know what the mechanism is for that. I think that's a super interesting thing because there's so many areas in life that it applies to. Like,
I think there's a visualization element.
Or just like a devil may care kind of vibe to it. Like when you go in, like I haven't done, like this workout opens up with 15. Was this the muscle up? What was the workout? Was it the 15 and then the squat cleans or something like that?
Echo bike, muscle up, snatch, shuttle run.
Snatch. Okay, yeah. So like maybe part of it is like, and you can answer this, is it like just not having any sort of expectation or concept of what you might be capable of in the movement. So the only thing you have to go on is like very much how you feel in the moment. You pair that with adrenaline and you let her rip, and all of a sudden it's like, that's better than I've seen Paige do ever, maybe. I don't know what the mechanism is, but it's you just see it applied in so many areas of life, whether it's just like studying for something, you take a step back and then all of a sudden it clicks. It's a movement pattern thing. It's like, I need to put a barbell down. I need to go take a walk. I need to go do something completely unrelated to this. You let all that training kind of almost like settle itself into your nervous system, and then you come back and it's like, holy shit, like all of that work did in fact pay off. I wasn't sure when it was going to reveal itself, and I at one point was unsure that it was ever going to, but it did. And
there actually is a neurological pathway that has been studied, and I'm not gonna butcher it right now, but like there is research on exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I try out in the gym to tell people like, it's time to stop. Like in 48 hours, you're going to feel a lot better about this.
Yeah.
You trying to see if you can make the pull-up bar become, I don't know, transparent so that your body can morph through it and you get a bar muscle up versus slamming your chest into it and shaking the whole building.
Yeah, just like, that point of diminishing returns, the frustration,
but there's something that happens,
the physical exhaustion,
in the mind, making a connection between the physical and the mental aspect of it, which is really cool.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like putting trust in yourself, putting trust in what you've already done. And like as McKenna's going through her injury recovery right now, it's like And I have an athlete who had an injury take a step back for a week, and he's like, am I going to lose everything? And I'm like, the amount of times that I've had to start over in this sport and still excel year after year, like, it's okay. Like, you're going to have setbacks, but like, if you build the foundation underneath you, like watching McKenna, like, she's already built such a strong foundation underneath her. She has all the tools as far as physical therapy and recovery that like she's going to like blast off from this at some point. And like, we've seen that in her pressing already. Like, that girl can press a brick house like through the outer space. I don't even know.
You don't want to know, Hunter. There's a reason, though. There's a very specific reason why you can rebound from that and why she is going to. You both share this. You both show up anyways. Even if, see, that's the thing. People think they have to arrive at this next checkpoint with the like perfect conditions and mindset. Like, that's one thing you've always done. You've been honest with me about this is where my headspace is at. At no point do you say, I'm not fucking going in today. And this goes back to that, you know, the story that we tell of everyone being like, be nice to yourself, take 7 extra rest days a week, and you'll feel fantastic. And you like raised your hand at camp and we're like, I just go do it anyways. And everyone else is like, fuck. But like, that is, it's not, the funny thing is you might take that as like, oh, well, I just do it anyways. That's not what you're saying. You're saying, I show up and just give it what I've got on that day anyways. I know that it's not a 10 out of 10. It might be a 2 out of 10. But I continue to show up, and that, you know, there's the whole, you know, insert fucking Jocko Willink and David Goggins and all that shit, like that whole piece of momentum and discipline and everything. But like, if someone is going through this sort of deal and want to know what the number one advice would be from someone like you or McKenna, whether you guys know it or not, is just continue to show up, like over and over and over.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is all like it's not like doubling down, right? It's not like, okay, what I'm doing isn't like, I'm not feeling great, I'm gonna double down and work even harder, right? It's more of like, because like that, like there's a time and a place for that, but for the most part it's more like, hey, you just need to kind of trust and embrace the process, right? Keep doing what you're doing. It's okay that you're not at 100% every day. I talk to affiliate athletes about this. Like, there's a difference between like, I'm just going to continue to come to the gym every single day, and before I know it, I'm on 14 continuous days of training, and it's like, you're an idiot. Like, that's dumb. Like, instead, like, maintain the consistency that you have and accept the fact that maybe on Tuesday, even if it's a wheelhouse workout for you, like, you just didn't sleep great, you just don't feel great, you had a dog shit day at work, or maybe just for absolutely no reason you don't have it in you, like coming in and still like having something to focus on. Like, it doesn't need to be a like I'm rolling around on the floor after the workout sort of like or bust feeling. It's like, well, I can still do my 5x5 squat, and maybe it's not at the percentage that I need to, but I can instead focus on my bottom position. I can focus on speed through the lift. There's always something to focus on that can move the needle for you, whether or not you choose to do that or not, or just kind of, you know, on one end, just double down and just continue to beat the shit out of yourself, which isn't good, or the opposite of just like, I'm going to be nice to myself, take the 74th rest day in a row. It's like, you chicken fucker,
I think, like what you're saying is like, it's not doubling down. It's actually quite the opposite. Like, I'm not going to go in and try and work extra hard and like have that kind of like
make up for the feeling of like,
exactly. Like, it's actually, I'm going to give myself grace when I go in and show up, and whatever I can give that day, I'm going to be proud of because I still went and showed up. And that's not to say that's all the time. Like, there are seasons of life. I went through a breakup. It was really hard on me. Okay, I had a lot of grace in that time. I had to take a step back, but that's not like, you know, I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place of balance right now, but I still have bad days. And like, okay, I need to ease off the pressure a little bit so that I can still go in and show up and have a productive day. That's not to say I'm being easy on myself. Like, there, you know, I still have a high expectation, but there has to be a balance of that somewhere. And nobody else is going to give that to me except myself. Like, I need to be able to give that to me. Because actually a lot of people are like sympathetic and empathetic and will give that to you when you're having a bad day. But like the showing up piece, I mean.
Yeah. And there's a place for that, for sure. Like, it's not to say that like there's never a place to say like, hey, like, why don't you like take the day? Like, take the day to yourself. Like, there is a place for that. It's just, if I think people tend to default to like one extreme or the other, when it's like, well, it's like there is a middle ground of something that I can do and still be productive, and just kind of trust that eventually I'll be out of this kind of like this low point and be on the way back up.
All right, so there's two parts to this story that we will at some point get to spring of 2025. We just covered quite a bit of it, and then the other side of it is I'll use a shirt that we made last year, the Misfit Athletics shirt for the CrossFit Games last year, as the example. And I will attempt to set the tone by being somewhat vulnerable. We'll see how comfortable I am while I'm speaking. But there's this idea that I sort of wrapped my mind around last year. The shirt said, "Work in the shadows, shine in the light." And basically the idea is, if Paige is willing to, it's kind of like the 50-50 agreement, but in a different way. If Paige is willing to work as hard as she does with the level of recognition that she gets, I can also do that. Like, I can also be okay with that. And the vulnerability piece would be, I don't think that Misfit Athletics or myself receive the recognition that I should / we should for what we do in the space, but it's also my fault. And Paige, it's also your fault in a certain way. I'll let you speak to that yourself. Like last week, I set up my fucking camera. I'm talking to myself alone in my office about phase 0. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Like, I don't know anything about marketing or advertising. I really know how to get people stronger, fitter, more skilled, talk them through mindset, these other pieces. And that's what I'm interested in. And I don't really need the validation enough to put myself in front of the camera more often to be like, we're so cool, we're the best. Like, that's not really like a need of mine. But then can you really get pissed when you don't get the recognition, when you don't really put yourself out there in the way that other people do? So a little bit of a conundrum there. And 2025 season, we talked through the financial ramifications of, things like the World Fitness Project. You got a new agent. We talked about, the idea of exposure and sponsorships. One of the reasons why you have done so well is because you have not been distracted at almost any point during this journey, right? 2nd, 30th, 21st, 18th, 9th at the CrossFit Games. You have put the pursuit of excellence in the sport above all of these other things, above exposure, of always going to the Wodapalooza and the this and the that, of, filming yourself nonstop and editing and paying for people to come, just all these different pieces. And a conversation that you and I had and a decision that you and I made before Mayhem, leading into all of the stuff that you did in that, month and a half period of time, was, why don't we see the other side of this?
Yeah.
Let's just go do all the fucking things and kind of see how it goes. Get more exposure, get your name out there a little bit more. So I guess the first question would be, like, how does that whole, spiel resonate with you? And then how do you feel about kind of how it went and now that you're on the other side of it?
Yeah. I think that's why we work so well together, is because I'm the same exact way. Like, I never had a passion for, or never like found it easy to be able to like market myself on social media, things like that. And I never found joy in doing that. So that was a big struggle. I'm like, I really want to put this effort in, but I don't know how. And again, like you said, like, it became a distraction. And I worked with an agent for a while, and basically what we kept being like told was like, we're looking for younger athletes. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm 34, I get it. But like, I've had a good reputation all through my career. Like, I have the respect of other athletes. I just, I wasn't an opportunistic person to like, reach out to brands or to try to, go to this meeting or go to that dinner or whatever. And sometimes I didn't really even know about them. So I didn't get close with anybody in the sport except for like my circle, which is Misfit Athletics, right? And it's like, the more that it kept not working out, I was like getting more and more annoyed. And now I'm just like, I feel like I'm back at a place where I'm like, yeah, I don't know why, like, I don't need that. Like, the money would be great. It would be awesome to be able to like just compete and have the financial stability behind it completely. But like, it's never been necessary. Like, I've never needed it in the way that other people might. you know? So yeah, I sucked at it too. That's a big part of it. And I think the pressure of putting that on myself of like wanting it so badly is like what also derailed me a bit. So yeah, now I feel like I'm back at a place, like ironically enough, me and McKenna just had this conversation yesterday of like, I don't need it. Like I don't know why I put so much pressure on myself to want that, because you see everybody else having it and having success, and you know, you play the comparison game, but like that's not my life. So
Such a weird fucking vibe or
It
spot
is.
that like the world is in, I guess.
We are the three experts on this topipic. We're actually going to do another follow-up episode.
Yeah, on how to market yourself on social media effectively. Fuck, Jesus Christ. It just it sucks.
Hunter's like Grumpy Tuesday would be fucking.
But you know, like again, I talked to McKenna about it yesterday, and I'm like, Drew could make me do more things. Drew could have a contract that says I need to do this, this, and this, and have these obligations. And I've always appreciated that you never force that to happen. Like you let me be and like let it just happen organically. And I think that's also part of why there's been so much success. And like, it's not hard for me to want to like talk about Misfit athletics, or the fact that I'm a Misfit athlete, or the fact that I've been with Misfit since 2018. There are reasons that that's happened, and like I wouldn't change it.
There's just my expectations for an athlete that I work with, for someone who is on a remote coaching staff. They're so important to me that creating other ones that aren't important to me feels so disingenuous. You know what I mean? Like that give a shit factor, and the like, hey, like we are in pursuit of something here, to then be like, but also like make sure you do a TikTok dance every Wednesday. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, I've also had to let go of that, right? Like I could put it in the contract. I'm not spending any more fucking time. I've been promoted. I am the head of media now at Misfit Athletics as well. I am not spending any more fucking time on social media counting Paige's posts.
Yeah.
And those are, you know, things that you have to kind of come to grips with. And, you know, maybe if I was working with someone that didn't check those other boxes, it would be like, man, you better fucking be good at selling the program, because this might not be worth it for me. But like, I just don't think that kind of person would ever be a good fit for us and what we do, and for, you know what I mean? Like, I think that relationship wouldn't work anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I think of like past Misfits, like Kenzie, like she's always someone that's kept it real, right? Like, I feel like that's just kind of who we have in our arsenal, in our culture here.
Yeah, for sure. So you did Mayhem at like mid-April, beginning of April, roughly?
Beginning of April. Beginning of April.
That was also a continuation of no gymnastics or pressing, basically. And what was interesting about that was your fitness level was like at a place that we are used to, but the movements you hadn't done in a field that's again sort of like rogue, condensed in that way. Yeah. Like you're going to have basically up and down sort of a thing. So you do that competition. You got PRP right after that?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Literally the next day. Yeah.
So then we have this weird chunk of time where it's like I have to recover and let the inflammation, you know, kind of do its work and go in there. But it was essentially straight into online semifinals. And then online semifinals led into the following week was World Fitness Project, correct?
Yeah.
World Fitness Project was the first time that I ever saw you with the body language and honestly work capacity of essentially like a different person. And in your mind, the way that it felt to go through that, to make your way through all of those things so kind of crammed together, like, what do you think it was that made you sort of feel that way there? Was it just like, I can't train on a normal schedule? Like what led to you feeling that way at WFP?
Probably a lot of things. Probably more of emotional stress than like the physical stress.
Yeah.
But I think like also like not having done movements and not feeling like I can move like pain freely, like all that stuff starts to add up, and it starts to play in your mind of like, I'm not good enough. I can't keep up with these people. Like, I just don't feel like I felt like a different person. I felt like I even looked like a different person. But it was earlier in the year in February where I took a step back from coaching, and like that was really hard. Like I you could say it was kind of like I was grieving that. Like, even though it felt like the right choice for me, like physically and mentally, it still took time to adjust. And it was still so fresh that like when things were going poorly competing, that kind of stuff would also bottle up in my mind and I would think about it. So it was like kind of a compounding thing of like, I'm not competing well, I'm grieving this thing, and now they're both kind of like butting heads, and I don't know what's coming first and what's affecting me more. But either way, they were both affecting me physically. So yeah, like I felt like shit at a World Fitness Project. I felt like shit at online semifinals. Like I just knew that I wasn't myself.
And there was you have a superpower that is in large part how you've been able to do what you do, and you are explaining the exact opposite of that superpower.
Yeah.
Like, let's say Hunter and Paige do a workout together out there in the gym, and it's like wheelhouse for Hunter. And he's
Nice.
like close to her, right? It's Tuesday, it's October. Hunter feels real good about himself. Hunter decides to make a comeback to competitive CrossFit, and they do a similar workout together on a competition
After one
floor.
day, one wheelhouse
Yes.
day. Sick.
And Paige beats him by like 8 minutes. Like you've always been that person who brings something else to the competitive setting, right?
Yeah.
Like you train to improve, you buy into the idea of the stimulus. It's not always race every second. I think we've been leaning more into this concept in this prep, which has been going really well. But like you are essentially explaining like what is one huge element of what makes Paige the competitor she is gone. Like not there with you. And now that you have come out the other side of it, like how are you feeling about your training right now and your headspace and your fitness level compared to what probably felt a lot different?
Yeah. So it took probably about 7 to 8 weeks for the PRP to really like take hold and be like, wow, I don't wake up thinking about this. I don't wake up feeling achy. We took some time off after World Fitness Project, maybe like the rest of the month, I think. And then we went through like a rebuilding phase. So just like conventional strength movements and just bitch work was basically all I did. 3 zone 2 sessions a day or a week, excuse me.
Hell yeah.
And like, I just, again, like instead of doubling down and putting more pressure on myself, I allowed myself to take a step back and just be like, just do what's in front of you, do what's on paper, and like give it the best I have each day. And again, still really, really good days and a couple of bad days, but like I put the intensity into that stuff and it was very low volume, and it just started like each day, you kind of brick by brick you build, and it was like, oh, my confidence is starting to come back. I'm starting to feel my legs underneath me again. And I think just that kind of slow like on ramp into this prep really set the tone for me and really like set me up for success to be like, okay, I can do 2 conditioning pieces a day. I can do 2 lifts. I can add an extra piece this day. And again, being pain-free and waking up and not having that has been such a huge difference in my headspace and has allowed me to more so embrace where I'm at. So it's been really fun. Like I'll go into the gym, on a Saturday, and McKenna and Wyatt are in there. We're goofing around. Like there's laughs and there's like lightness in the air again. And she's still going through her recovery with her injury. And again, she's having a lot of positives with it. So it's just like we can feed off that. And we're not doing the same training pieces, but we both know what we're after, and like we just feed off that. And it's just like it's such a good culture for us to have. And yeah, just like that lightness in the air, I think is really what it's been. And then the extra communication with you has been really, really helpful. So like just the small notes in my training, and then giving you feedback and being able to be like, man, I felt really good on this piece, and just like, I don't know, small responses that just go a long way of like, I feel like I have momentum and I'm going to run with that.
Yeah, it's funny, your like buy-in and attitude and like I'm believing in myself again is cool to watch because it's increasing as the volume increases. So like normally as a coach, you're like trying to control the enthusiasm during the low volume period, and then you become more of a therapist as we get closer to Hell Week. And yours has been inverse because it's almost like you're remembering who you are.
Yeah. And I feel like I hit a pretty low point. Like I think I'll think back to 2021 when I missed out on qualifying for Atlas Games by one snatch. And I was like so disappointed. And I'm like, I'm going all in. And like, I remember that feeling. I remember what it was like to be like, all right, I'm going to have a little bit more discipline this go around. It's almost like when you have a bad relationship and you're like, how do I do better in the next one? Like, how do I have a better relationship? How do I be a better person? And that's how I feel with prep every single time. Like, there are things that you didn't execute well on. How can I be better at those things in the next prep? And that's kind of like the mindset that I've taken into this with World Fitness Project. And I want to be ready to show up. And like, it feels different because it's not the games. Like, I can sit here and I texted you yesterday. I'm like, I know I should be out there. Like, I know I belong out there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss that. But like, I still want to take advantage of every opportunity that I get. And even as I'm getting older, like, I still feel like I am getting fitter and stronger, even from last year and from the year before. And like, it's really cool.
The numbers.
It's really cool to say that when like people are like, oh, you're going to be a master's athlete next year. What are you going to do? I'm going to show up and see what happens on the leaderboard. So even like Carolyn Prevost, like, she just turned master. She's masters for 2 years now. And
yeah, I was going to say,
she still shows up, man. Yeah. Like, she's still a fantastic athlete. So yeah, we're going to show up.
What was it like on your end? Because we had to make the decision not to do syndicate, which would have been the 47th competition in 48 days. And at that point, it was like a lot of like, oh, well, so-and-so's not going to be there. This person is there. Like, it's only 2 spots. But when you look at the names, you're like, hey, let me out there, coach, like that kind of thing. How did it feel in the moment and then sort of during and after to essentially watch that go by?
It's kind of like, when I took the step back from coaching, it's like, I know it's the right decision. It doesn't feel good, but I know it's the right decision.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're like, man, like, what ifs kind of pop into your head. What if I go? What if I come in first on this event? Like, some of the events I really liked, but it was like, I also know that my body is not in a space to compete again. Like, I knew I needed the break. So the bittersweet feeling.
Yeah. Yep. Hunter, you got anything for us? Any questions? Any thoughts?
Listening. What? When did you feel like you made like the turnaround page? Like you alluded to in 2021 when you missed you missed qualifying by like a snatch to Atlas Games, and then you like I'm all in, and then like. What about this year? Like, where was the turnaround point for you to like really dig back into training and like feel good about it?
Probably
during and then, like leading into like I'm getting after Hell Week, the inverse.
Yeah, well,
thing that Drew was just talking about.
Like I've had quite a few talks with Drew of like just where I'm at, where my head is, like where. But like one of the things that I was like, I almost wanted to say, but I also didn't want to like make it a concrete thing. It was like, I don't want to compete at World Fitness Project 2. Like that was kind of a thought that was like in the back of my head, but I'm like, I still had the what ifs. What if you go there and you compete and you do well? What if you buy into the training again? This no, for like this upcoming one, in August. Like and then we started doing like that little mini off-season phase of rebuilding, and like then I was really starting to feel good again. And I'm like, okay, the what ifs started coming up, like the positive what ifs of like, what if I go and what if I show up? So I never said anything, and I was just like, I'm gonna go into this prep and I'm going to, stay in communication with Drew as far as like how the volume feels and how my body's feeling and how my headspace is responding. And if it wasn't getting better, I would say something. And if it is getting better, which it has been like drastically, again, I will let him know that. And then like let him kind of dictate like, okay, we're going to do hell-ish week and we're going to up the volume on certain days. And it's been a really good balance. So, but yeah, it was kind of shortly after World Fitness Project.
Okay.
That programming was so fun as a programmer, just because this will definitely resonate with Hunter. When you're writing a true competition prep or off season or any of these things, the amount of different things, especially with like a novice to intermediate athlete that you need to get them better at, can muddy the waters of the program a little bit. But also, if we don't do all these things and check these boxes and get it enough exposure, that can also be a problem. With Paige being like, okay, GHD sit-ups, pressing,
Sandbag.
rope climbs, sandbag, like just like the movement tracker shrinking, knowing how easy it is for us to move the needle in a program like that comparative to the one where there's so many movements. It feels good to do because one, it's fun to write, but like part of why it's fun to write is I know this is going to work for her. I know that if I give her a chance in the right pocket to like one of the ones was power clean. Like I'm like, it doesn't add up that Paige's like power clean, power snatch isn't where certain other things are. So we're gonna force this basically. And then last week you hit 220 for a double, correct?
Yeah.
On power clean.
Yeah.
And just literally me writing almost every week, like you need to finish your pull and pull under the bar. One of the two usually, like it's not gonna, we got to bring this together, but just having those things in there and then using them as runway, I think is super fun. And I mean, Hunter, you've seen the program.
It's so much easier to write a program with like constraints like that. It's like,
hold my
this is what we
keyboard.
have to do. Easy, done. I'll find 18 ways to fuck you up with these 4 movements. Don't worry.
I think what I appreciate though too is like you didn't feel like there was some grand programming thing that needed to happen. It's actually very simple, like you could almost say mundane. Like it was a lot of the same stuff week after week.
Yeah.
But like the linear progressions, the simplicity of it, of like I don't know, I appreciate that because it's like it doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be overdone. You just have to be ready to be like, all right, I know I'm gonna power clean every week. Okay, I'm gonna accept that. But I do like power cleans now. So
yeah. So when we're talking about, just to give people some insight on your prep for WFP, it's interesting because in this season you have to do like 4 competition preps. So it's like, do I have an off season? Do I have the moments like the one that we just had where I get to kind of slow down a little bit and work on specific things? And for me, it's like, we're not going to do a true semifinals level or games level prep 4 times a year. Like that is 100% not a good idea. Honestly, wouldn't be a good idea for anyone. So trying to navigate through that. And you've always been an athlete where as we get into like the peak of the volume, we've made some adjustments to the volume there because there's like, you sort of show that point of diminishing return in real time.
yeah.
Whereas other athletes delay it. They have that mental breakdown a week after Hell Week. And like you're mid Hell Week and you're like, hey, excuse me, this is fucking too much. So trying to figure out that sweet spot. And I now have 3 levels of prep. I have games prep, semifinals prep, and then whatever the fuck one rung is below that. But like, again, it's going to prove the point that, the more is better is just, wrong. And Hunter, is in there as well because it's the Masters Games prep is essentially an adaptation that is built off of your UFP prep. And I remember saying to you, I actually don't think the volume is going to be like that far off. And I know that you have specific instances with different ages or how many hours somebody can train, that sort of thing. But I just like the idea of that when we are talking about the fact that like, if it seems like too much or it seems gimmicky, it probably is.
Yeah.
Kind of an important
Well, I was
footnote.
just going to say, like, the fact that the same program as, like, Paige's FP prep serves as, like, at the very least, a very, like, an 80% solution for Masters Games prep is more just, like, a reflection that, like, the effort that the athlete puts in and their ability to execute on the program is more important than this, like, weird fucking undulating periodized program that like ebbs and flows and peaks and whatever at these specific times that might look good on paper but don't necessarily reflect like on the very specific athlete that it's meant to serve, and 2, just like the week to week, month to month changes that an athlete goes through, whether it's physical, mental, or both. And it's like it all comes down to how the athlete chooses to execute and how the coach is able to manipulate what the athlete has to give and like what they need to give in order to like be as prepared for it as possible.
And on a long enough time horizon, like if it doesn't work, I'm fucking fired. And I love that part of my job, right?
Yeah.
Like a fucking copy and paste where we don't iterate, first and foremost, would just be boring. Like I would probably quit, so I'd fire myself. But if you have like, you know, if Paige started in 8th and ended in 32nd on this journey, at some point should have been like, hey, I'm thinking, you know, I like you, but I'm thinking maybe we got to change this shit up here. So like that part of it is helpful, because if we didn't have that feedback, that'd be too much of what you were talking about, Hunter, the theorizing of this perfect thing happening
Yeah,
here.
it would just be like, well,
placed
what
here.
looks good on the wall here or in the
Exactly.
spreadsheet, and it's like that makes sense, but like, does it actually? How does it play out in reality and in execution?
And it's fucking, man, like I love it. And I want to do more content related to it, but it is fucking complicated the way that the sport works, and it's unlike any other thing. Like I really just like trying to draw a correlation between like, okay, you need to be amazing at all these different things, but most of them won't even show up that you practice for. Oh, by the way, there is essentially no practice. You literally just do the sport all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And then you do it again when you compete. Like really kind of fascinating. But again,
And trying to make the sport separate entities in order to get better at the sport doesn't work. So you have to do the sport that you're going to compete in. It is weird.
Some young Drew on my shoulder still just wants segmented training to work so bad. Because I can make it so pretty and so progressive, and then you go do CrossFit and you're not that good at it, and it's like, fuck.
I kind of get a cool perspective though, because like I'm a remote athlete of yours. I'm a remote coach for Misfit Athletics, excuse me. And I also get to see a lot of remote coaching that you do for McKenna. So it's like I see how you can individualize things so much, but then like McKenna and I can still get together and do some training pieces, because like the main thing with that is we're after stimulus. So like we can go and get after it. But it is cool because it's like her and I are in 2 different seasons of training right now, but like, I don't know, I get to just see the differences, but I also get to see so many of the similarities. And also like she is progressing on certain things that's really helping her gain momentum. And then I'm progressing on other things that are helping me gain momentum, but like we're both kind of headed in the same direction, right? Like, I don't know, it's just kind of a cool perspective to see. And then for myself, I have like 2 athletes that are getting ready to prep for something. So like I also get to change a lot of the dynamic in their training as well. It's kind of cool.
It is. And shout out to McKenna, because she just did a power clean variation of pennies, and she did it in a very competitive time, which I think probably like there's a sigh of relief maybe relating to like I gotta go run like mixed with muscle ups and, you know, cleans and things of that nature. So that's pretty fucking cool seeing that pop up over there on Strivey.
I got to watch her do Clio yesterday. Woof. So fun.
What was her time?
Dude, she is a
She
queen.
has the official record. She beat Jessie Smith by 1 second.
I'm impressed with Jessie Smith.
Second.
That's
Can
so
you imagine though, if you were married to Chandler, how much machine work you'd have to do?
No, I know, but still.
People don't want to know Chandler's time. Let me, I'm gonna ruin it.
Me
too.
Wait, what were their times?
So McKenna was 34:05. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I think Jessie was 34:06.
So
and
crazy.
Again, a piece of fuck, I lost my train of thought because I'm trying to look this up and talk at the same time. You guys keep going.
I don't know what to say.
What's happening?
Chandler was 24:48.
Yeah,
Peyton. Look something.
We've seen there is a spread. Let's just say that. As
Someone
much
almost
as
doubled.
a 2x spread on times in this one fucking workout.
I had one of my athletes, she's a young college girl. She's like, I saw they posted sub 35 as a challenge. And she's like, I don't know if that was for like an elite athlete, but I went for it. And I'm too embarrassed to share my time.
Last year, or January 19th, 2025, Kyle Moline, 26:54.
Ooh.
That is fucking very impressive.
See if he beats it this year.
How many
So he
calories
has
is
the-
it? 480?
What's that?
How many? It's 480 calories, right?
Maybe. Probably.
60. 16. Yeah. Is it 3?
Yeah.
Yep.
480. I was just trying to think if I could crack 30.
I think Chandler
16.
told me that he was over 400 watts on the Echo bike the whole time. And I just think that that specific machine capacity is something that other people don't have.
Yeah.
So your general capacity and your capacity on those other two machines could get you only so far, probably that 26 to 27 minute range. But if you want to, you either need to be a freak doing something, weird outlier on like the ski erg or something like that would be another example. But yeah,
McKenna's like recovery row was fast, and she's like, I just needed to push the echo bike more. That was her exact thing, was the echo bike.
Man, it's that no man's land of that level of resistance is weird. It's a mentally, you almost don't feel like you're doing anything. Like, I feel like, I don't know why, but every other machine, I feel like I have this like specific task. And on the echo bike, I feel like don't be a fucking baby is the only, I don't even know what I'm doing with my body. It's just looking at it and being like, fucking Erica would be holding 66 RPMs. And if I can't do that at my size, I don't know if I can live with myself. You know what I mean? So like that's, I don't know. It's such a weird experience, that machine in relation to all the other machines. It's fucking.
I don't even know what I'd hold. I'd be sad girl on it though.
Have you done it? You haven't done it yet?
No.
She always gets to skip phase 0.
Try to beat Paige.
She's either doing the games or please, like post games Cleo would be really good.
Yeah, it would. I'll do it for like prep for the next one. Make that a test.
Yeah, you're not. You're gonna do it for sure. Yeah. All right. What a journey we took. What a journey we took through 2025. I was telling Hunter before you joined Paige that now felt like the right time to go over it because there's a level of perspective that comes from being on the outside looking into something, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm removed from this place mentally, physically. I can look back at it and feel a certain way about it.
Yeah. I think if you asked me any sooner, I'd probably cry about it. So there's that too.
Fuck.
I mean, that's fine. I'll get
a little senti in here.
Yeah, I somewhere, if I ever had to apply for a job, somewhere on my resume, I could put that I'm really good at handling people crying after CrossFit for the amount.
It's definitely on
Just
there.
make that one bullet point.
Yeah.
Just good.
If you cry, I will be fine.
Handers criers well. If
like,
you cry,
me and McKenna talk about
that's
it.
the line that I put on my resume.
Yes.
Yours is handles criers extremely well. Mine is I will be fine if you cry. You can cry, I'll be fine.
I always Drew will ask me how are you doing? And I'll be like, just start letting it all out. I can't help it.
Listen, we talked about this on a previous podcast. Hunter, you and I talked about it a little bit. The little boys crying during sports. Mm-hmm. Those memories are etched in my brain where it's like I can't be judgmental about this. Like the wind would blow in the wrong way while I was pitching in Little League, and I would start crying.
I cried so much in sports. I remember crying when I was on the pitcher's mound and my dad was the umpire. I swear to God, I was throwing pipe bombs straight down the middle, and I was getting
I think you and I had an oddly similar experience.
That was like, fuck. That was in the zone, and it was just nope ball. I started crying. Not a good time.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is it'd be very judgmental of me to not handle it well when I think back to all of my sports crying. All right. I think that was a great podcast. I think there's a lot of nuggets in there for people to sort of, relate to something that they've been through personally or something that they're going through. And my final thoughts is just that idea of my athletes that move the needle further and faster than other ones all continue to show up. They have the same or similar emotional reactions as you do. They go through the injuries. They go through all this different stuff. But there's something in them that allows them to continue to show up in whatever state it is. And it's my job to adapt to those moments, those periods of time. But that's the common denominator here is I'm going to keep walking my ass back out there and doing the thing. And I think that probably resonates with both of you because I consider you two to be, the authority on that topic. Like we've joked around Hunter's, people ask at the gym why Hunter's so fit. And he's like, something like I've been to the gym 5 times a week for 17 years or something like just something bonkers. Like and it's like, I mean, have you done that? Like, can you ask that question and be mad about it? And if you haven't done that, it's definitely two of the people that I would want to, learn from and talk to about that. But I think that's my biggest takeaway from all this.
Yeah, I think, and it's a good reminder for like to hear Paige's story and then to just kind of understand that everybody goes through that some form or fashion. The timing is never perfect on it. As a matter of fact, it's almost always the worst possible timing for one reason or another. And there's just a lot to be said about, I think too, it probably has a lot to do with like something as small as like the routine, right? You get into a funk, you don't want to do anything, and then you start changing around your routine, say like, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to do the things that I would normally do because I can't give them, the effort level or put up the score that is to my standard. And instead of saying, well, no, I'm going to go in and do the best I can and try to maintain some semblance of normalcy in the things that I can control, people waver off into like, well, now you're not only stressed and you're not only upset about your performance or going through personal shit, but now you're also changing like your routine, you're changing the things that you normally do, and maybe you're causing even more stress. So I think there's a lot to be said for like, it's okay. You don't have to, like, the expectation can't be that you go to the gym every day with your A game. Like, that's just statistically unrealistic. But there is something to be said about going to the gym with your C+ game and saying, I can still get something out of this, or just the fact that I'm here doing the things that I need to and checking the box. I hesitate to say that a little bit, but there is value in that.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll come out the other side.
Yeah. I'd piggyback off that. It's the, when you feel the pressure of like, I need to double down and work harder, like you can still work hard, but give yourself that grace. Like, take a step back, just be in the present moment and give the effort that you have. So
yeah, hard is relative to what you've got on that day.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Thanks, Paige.
You're welcome.
Did we do it?
We did it.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Misfit podcast. Just a little reminder, the free trials are on Strivey and Fitter, but only for a couple of days. So make sure that you head there if you want to try out our programming for free. Phase 0 is a real doozy. Had some people this week be like, if Cleo is a representation of the next 5 weeks, I'm going to die. I put it first on purpose. It's all downhill after Cleo. You'll be fine.
Probably.
The cube tests are super easy. Mount Doom's pretty easy. 50 cal sprints are easy. So
pretty easy.
Yeah, you guys are good. King Larry's pretty easy. So you can head to the link in bio on our Instagram and
affiliate
suffer along.
Easy.
Yep, suffer along with the rest of the Misfits. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Later.
You're a scrappy little misfit, just like me.
Biggest bunch of misfits I ever set eyes on.